A young woman leans across a grand table, eyes determined, asking the question that could change everything. Then, what do you plan to do from here? The tension is palpable, like a storm waiting to break. She stands, poised, her voice calm but resolute. First, I would like to do more research into the cure-all being sold by the Yeoran clan. The words hang in the air like a challenge. The room darkens, the weight of unspoken consequences pressing down. Across from her, a shadowed figure turns, the cure-all glowing faintly on his back. Why the cure-all? He asks, the doubt in his voice slicing through the tension. I doubt that it is actually as good as people say it is. I want to know what Gian is planning on doing with it. Her mother's voice cuts through the moment, teasing yet concerned. Are you going to investigate it yourself? She leans back, exhaling with an almost playful grace. I know that my safety comes first, mother. I am delegating that task to someone else. I do not plan on doing anything reckless. A sigh of relief escapes her mother's lips, pride softening her sharp features. I'm proud of you, my child. The young woman smiles, light and carefree, but the shadows around them hint at secrets yet to unfold. Then, reality crashes back with a sharp twist. Her mother's tone hardens. The Emperor Consort is not someone who would easily do your bidding. Did you meet anyone else in the White Tree Garden other than your father? The girl flinches, wide-eyed, the weight of her actions pressing down. Her innocence meets the unyielding gaze of authority. Finally, the final warning pierces through like lightning. I will also be asking the Emperor Consort, so do not think of lying to me. The intensity in her mother's eyes is almost supernatural, and the girl is left speechless, caught between duty, curiosity, and the looming danger of the unknown. She doesn't know it yet, but the choices she makes next will shake the foundations of her world. What happens next will change everything. The young woman nods nervously, sweat beading at her forehead, a small, uneasy smile tugging at her lips. The tension of her mother's warning still lingers, but she steels herself, trying to appear calm. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning splits the sky, thunder cracking like a war drum over the palace rooftops. Sonya Aryun. The shout pierces the storm, reverberating through the air, leaving a ringing in her ears. She winces, realizing the consequences of her actions are already reaching far beyond the palace walls. A whispered thought floats through her mind, sharp and undeniable. I heard quite an earful after that. Back in the quiet of her chamber, she leans back with a mischievous smirk, letting out a soft, playful laugh. Peeved, she murmurs, shaking her head. Despite the chaos, she can't help but feel a small surge of pride and freedom, a rare moment of levity in a world governed by rules she's only beginning to challenge. But the calm is brief. Her mother's voice erupts, cutting through the room like a whip. How could you think of embarking on such a dangerous endeavor? The shout is so forceful it rattles the furniture. The young girl flinches, guilty and caught off guard. Even so, you were planning on never mentioning it had I not asked you, weren't you? She stammers, cheeks flushing. Well, yes, but. Her words falter under the intensity of her mother's stare, the silent demand for honesty. The storm outside mirrors the storm inside the room, thunderous and unrelenting. Her mother's face darkens, anger and worry entwined. Fume. The young girl swallows hard, realizing the gravity of every decision she makes. Yet even amid the scolding, a quiet, secret satisfaction blooms. Today she's closer to walking her own path. And as the room calms, she reflects softly, letting her mind wander. Let's forget about what happened after that. But I feel like the two of us grew closer today. The cage that once confined her feels a little less suffocating. And I'm no longer confined here. Rising from her seat, she moves with purpose toward the window, eyes fixed on the distant horizon. The path ahead is unclear, but the determination in her gaze is unmistakable. All that's left, she thinks, her breath steadying, is to find out more about that cure-all. A tense silence settles over the palace as whispers of intrigue slip through the corridors. The young woman's mind races. If a medicine that's never been seen before is being sold on the market after Aryan Day, it must mean that Gian has been meeting with those from the West in secret. Her eyes narrow as she imagines the mysterious cure-all, swirling in her hands, promising relief, tempting with secrets. The cure-all is said to make you feel better and forget your pain. Shadows of doubt and curiosity mingle, each thought sharper than a blade. She leans forward, fingers tapping her chin, pensive. A mysterious medicine from the West, based on the information given to me by Chon. I think I have an idea of what it is. Her mind pieces together fragments of whispered conversations, rumors, and fleeting observations, forming a dangerous puzzle. The boy explains, quietly and urgently, about the strange medicine from the West, the cure-all whispered in hushed tones across the continent. Sonya listens intently, every word sharpening her focus. If Gian has been meeting with the Western envoy in secret, and this medicine is surfacing now, it could mean danger is closer than I thought. Her gaze drifts to the horizon, determination settling in her chest. How are we going to stop this? The weight of responsibility presses down on her, but Sonya will not falter. She sets her jaw. I must meet with Chon tomorrow. The pieces are falling into place. The night stretches on as whispers of the Western delegation echo through the palace walls. Servants and attendants bring news. They refuse to leave, even when they're told no. Sonya watches the golden-haired boy kneel, tears forming, pleading desperately. Please, please help us, Your Highness. The world outside the gates seems to hold its breath. Sonya rises from her seat, her silhouette sharp against the moonlit sky, resolve blazing. She knows that the coming day will test her judgment, courage, and heart in ways she has never imagined. The path forward is perilous, but she is ready to walk it. A soft sigh escapes her lips, tension momentarily releasing. How are we going to put a stop to this? She resolves, her violet eyes gleaming with determination. I'll have to meet with Chon tomorrow. Outside, commotion rises. Servants chatter and the palace stirs with unease. It's quite noisy outside. Has something happened? She asks, voice calm, yet alert. News reaches her swiftly. Oh, actually, they're saying that a delegation from the Western continent has arrived. They are causing a ruckus and demanding to see you, Your Highness. They refuse to leave, even when they're told no. The young girl crosses her arms, unimpressed. Why would they want to see me? Annoyance flickers across her expression, a mixture of curiosity and irritation. She doesn't need permission to step into the unknown, yet the mystery before her now is more unpredictable than ever. Her gaze sharpens as the details unfold. I see them. They're walking next to where Seoyeon's standing. Oh, it's a young boy. Her heart skips. A boy in the envoy? Wait, a boy in the envoy? The golden-haired child raises his voice, a mixture of fear and urgency. I am an ignorant fool and do not know what the dragon's blessing is, but there was no barrier that stopped us from teleporting to the palace. His innocence radiates from him, but his arrival carries consequences that ripple through the palace like stone in water. The young woman's mind races, curiosity and caution battling. Could it be that child? Why has he come to see me at this late hour? Understanding dawns. This is no ordinary visitor. Every instinct in her tells her the night is far from over. She rises, taking a deep breath. I will go down to see him, she declares, resolve steadying her nerves. Go-won follows without hesitation, nodding as their hands meet in silent agreement. Together, they step into the unknown. Outside, the night stretches endlessly, stars blinking with secrets overhead. Across the palace grounds, a figure pleads desperately. Just for a moment, please. Truly, just a few minutes is all we need. Please, I beg of you. Voices of refusal clash with the desperate cries. We said no, yet the girl's thoughts remain focused. This encounter is more than a chance meeting. It is the opening of a door that will expose truths long hidden. What she discovers next will pull her deeper into the shadows of the cure-all, secrets of the West, and the boy who might change everything. Sonya steps forward, eyes narrowing with authority as she addresses the golden-haired boy. Are you not from the Western envoy? What are you doing here at this hour? Her tone is firm, tinged with curiosity and caution. The boy freezes, caught off guard, his face flushing as he stammers, Good evening, Your Highness. The palace guards and attendants gasp audibly, watching the unusual encounter unfold. His voice wavers, almost musical, as he continues, Governor? I mean, greetings, Your Majesty. The words stumble over themselves, betraying his nervousness, his youthful uncertainty. Sonya's eyes widen, a mixture of disbelief and amusement racing across her face. Is he trying to flirt with me? A sharp intake of breath, her mind spinning with the absurdity of the moment, yet the weight of the night's mysteries keeps her grounded. The boy bows slightly, hands clasped, radiating a mix of respect and desperation. Sonya steps closer, her violet eyes sparkling with calculation as she assesses him. She notices the intricate hairpin adorning his dark locks, a relic of power and status. I see that you're looking at this hairpin, he says with a faint chuckle. Would you like a closer look? Outside, commotion rises. Servants chatter and the palace stirs with unease. It's quite noisy outside. Has something happened? She asks, voice calm, yet alert. News reaches her swiftly. Oh, Actually, they're saying that a delegation from the Western continent has arrived. They are causing a ruckus and demanding to see you, Your Highness. They refuse to leave, even when they're told no. The young girl crosses her arms, unimpressed. Why would they want to see me? Annoyance flickers across her expression, a mixture of curiosity and irritation. She doesn't need permission to step into the unknown, yet the mystery before her now is more unpredictable than ever. Her gaze sharpens as the details unfold. I see them. They're walking next to where Seoyeon's standing. Oh, it's a young boy. Her heart skips. A boy in the envoy? Wait, a boy in the envoy? The golden-haired child raises his voice, a mixture of fear and urgency. I am an ignorant fool and do not know what the dragon's blessing is, but there was no barrier that stopped us from teleporting to the palace. His innocence radiates from him, but his arrival carries consequences that ripple through the palace like stone in water. The young woman's mind races, curiosity and caution battling. Could it be that child? Why has he come to see me at this late hour? Understanding dawns. This is no ordinary visitor. Every instinct in her tells her the night is far from over. She rises, taking a deep breath. I will go down to see him, she declares, resolve steadying her nerves. Go-won follows without hesitation, nodding as their hands meet in silent agreement. Together, they step into the unknown. Outside, the night stretches endlessly, stars blinking with secrets overhead. Across the palace grounds, a figure pleads desperately. Just for a moment, please. Truly, just a few minutes is all we need. Please, I beg of you. Sonya nods, heart skipping, hands reaching out carefully. Why yes, please, she murmurs, fingers brushing against the ornate object. Her mind races. The color has dimmed a little from the last time I saw it. I find it fascinating. The soul orb's color is different from mine. She senses there is more than meets the eye, a mystery hidden in plain sight, tied to secrets of power she barely understands. The boy explains, quietly and urgently, about the strange medicine from the West, the cure-all whispered in hushed tones across the continent. Sonya listens intently, every word sharpening her focus. If Gian has been meeting with the Western envoy in secret, and this medicine is surfacing now, it could mean danger is closer than I thought. Her gaze drifts to the horizon, determination settling in her chest. How are we going to stop this? The weight of responsibility presses down on her, but Sonya will not falter. She sets her jaw. I must meet with Chon tomorrow. The pieces are falling into place. The night stretches on as whispers of the Western delegation echo through the palace walls. Servants and attendants bring news. They refuse to leave, even when they're told no. Sonya watches the golden-haired boy kneel, tears forming, pleading desperately. Please, please help us, Your Highness. The world outside the gates seems to hold its breath. Sonya rises from her seat, her silhouette sharp against the moonlit sky, resolve blazing. She knows that the coming day will test her judgment, courage, and heart in ways she has never imagined. The path forward is perilous, but she is ready to walk it. Sonya steps forward, eyes narrowing with authority as she addresses the golden-haired boy. Are you not from the Western envoy? What are you doing here at this hour? Her tone is firm, tinged with curiosity and caution. The boy freezes, caught off guard, his face flushing as he stammers, Good evening, Your Highness. The palace guards and attendants gasp audibly, watching the unusual encounter unfold. His voice wavers, almost musical, as he continues, Governor? Greetings, Your Majesty. The words stumble over themselves, betraying his nervousness, his youthful uncertainty. Sonya's eyes widen, a mixture of disbelief and amusement racing across her face. Is he trying to flirt with me? A sharp intake of breath, her mind spinning with the absurdity of the moment, yet the weight of the night's mysteries keeps her grounded. The boy bows slightly, hands clasped, radiating a mix of respect and desperation. Sonya steps closer, her violet eyes sparkling with calculation as she assesses him. She notices the intricate hairpin adorning his dark locks, a relic of power and status. I see that you're looking at this hairpin, he says with a faint chuckle. Would you like a closer look? Outside, commotion rises. Servants chatter and the palace stirs with unease. It's quite noisy outside. Has something happened? She asks, voice calm, yet alert. News reaches her swiftly. Oh, actually, they're saying that a delegation from the Western continent has arrived. They are causing a ruckus and demanding to see you, Your Highness. They refuse to leave, even when they're told no. The young girl crosses her arms, unimpressed. Why would they want to see me? Annoyance flickers across her expression, a mixture of curiosity and irritation. She doesn't need permission to step into the unknown, yet the mystery before her now is more unpredictable than ever. Her gaze sharpens as the details unfold. I see them. They're walking next to where Seoyeon's standing. Oh, it's a young boy. Her heart skips. A boy in the envoy? Wait, a boy in the envoy? The golden-haired child raises his voice, a mixture of fear and urgency. I am an ignorant fool and do not know what the dragon's blessing is, but there was no barrier that stopped us from teleporting to the palace. His innocence radiates from him, but his arrival carries consequences that ripple through the palace like stone in water. The young woman's mind races, curiosity and caution battling. Could it be that child? Why has he come to see me at this late hour? Understanding dawns. This is no ordinary visitor. Every instinct in her tells her the night is far from over. She rises, taking a deep breath. I will go down to see him, she declares, resolve steadying her nerves. Go-won follows without hesitation, nodding as their hands meet in silent agreement. Together, they step into the unknown. Outside, the night stretches endlessly, stars blinking with secrets overhead. Across the palace grounds, a figure pleads desperately. Just for a moment, please. Truly, just a few minutes is all we need. Please, I beg of you. Sonya spins around just in time to see a sudden blur of motion. Her voice cuts the air sharply. Lord Marina, where is your blind? But before she can finish, a tall figure steps between them, blocking her view. Her heart jumps. The palace air crackles with unspoken tension. Lord Marina steps forward with deliberate precision, his piercing gaze locking on the figure before him. His eyes burn like molten rubies as he glances back at Sonya, unreadable, almost chilling in their intensity. Sonya peeks cautiously from behind him, her small frame hidden, yet her wide eyes betray her curiosity and fear. It is good to see you again, Marina, he says, his voice calm, smooth, yet carrying a weight that presses on the chest. Sonya flinches as the other man blocks her way. She wants to step forward, to demand answers, but the imposing presence before her forces her to hesitate. Sonya's voice trembles as she stammers, I was simply asking for her name. Her eyes dart nervously between the two towering figures. She is small, almost invisible in the midst of palace authority, yet her courage shines in the tension coiling within her. Lord Marine's expression softens slightly, though his eyes never waver. I asked her, not you, he says, firm yet gentle. For now, you will know her as the child. We cannot tell you anything more than that. Sonya swallows hard, her lips parting slightly as she tries to comprehend the weight of his words. Her mind races with questions, but she is forced to stay silent. Then, the other man steps forward, his expression hardened. Sonya's heart skips a beat as he speaks with cold authority, she is a child. His words strike like a thunderclap, reverberating through the garden. Sonya's voice catches in her throat. I am the princess's father, Lord Marina adds, calm, almost sorrowful. Do you really think that I would bring harm to my own daughter? Sonya's small frame trembles under the weight of revelation. Her mind reels. How could the palace, the kingdom, and these powerful men hold such secrets, and yet she stands in the middle of it all, powerless but aware? The tension thickens as the first man's gaze sharpens. I do not think that. However, your majesty has not cared for children until now. His words pierce the quiet, leaving Sonya unsure of what will come next. The garden feels smaller, the sky darker, even in daylight. Sonya's little hands curl at her sides, and she realizes that in a single moment, the world around her has changed. These men, the palace, the secrets, they are far more complicated than she ever imagined. She looks up, her eyes wide and shimmering, meeting Lord Marine's calm, unwavering stare. Every choice she makes now feels monumental. Every word could ripple into consequences beyond her understanding. Her name remains unspoken, yet her identity as the child, the hidden princess, weighs heavier with each heartbeat. Sonya's small voice trembles in the quiet, I am. A sudden command cuts through the quiet garden, leave the child alone. The words hang in the air, sharp yet calm, and all eyes turn toward the speaker. The tension between the three figures is palpable, like the moment before a storm breaks. The young princess, eyes wide and shimmering with innocence, stands frozen. Her small hand clutches the hair tie nervously. Across from her, the golden-haired man's eyes blaze with intensity, almost radiating a warning. What I am saying is, do not see her as a substitute for anyone else. The words pierce the air, heavy with unspoken danger. Meanwhile, the figure with dark blue hair, Lord Marina, remains still, the faintest tremor running through him. A heartbeat echoes in the silence. His expression hardens, but there is restraint, a tension that threatens to snap at any moment. Lord Marina finally turns, eyes narrowing, the weight of the moment settling onto his shoulders. Each step he takes reverberates with purpose. The golden-haired man watches closely, stepping behind, every movement deliberate, calculated. The young princess peeks from behind, curious and cautious, caught in the middle of an unspoken battle of wills. Breaking the heavy pause, the blonde voice softens. Sonia. The simple utterance is enough to draw attention, and a small slip of tension unravels as a gentle presence overtakes the garden. I scared you, didn't I? I apologize for that. His glance is fleeting, warm, yet careful. The princess's hands move instinctively, tying the hair tie. She exhales, steadying herself. I'm fine, she murmurs, her voice soft, almost like a whisper against the stillness of the afternoon. Lord Marina watches her, the lines of his face softening. The bond of trust begins to form in silence, a fragile thread of connection. He kneels slightly, accepting the simple gift in her hands. This is the only thing I have on hand right now. The gesture is small, but it carries weight, a subtle acknowledgement of care. The princess's eyes widen, and a soft escapes her lips. Gratitude passes between them, quiet and unspoken, a fleeting moment of serenity amidst the tension. The golden-haired man shifts, his expression flickering between surprise and contemplation. Where did you leave yours this time? You can be so clumsy. His teasing tone cuts the tension, a rare break in his otherwise intense demeanor. The princess glances up, her small hand brushing against his sleeve. Thank you, she whispers, her words carrying the weight of honesty and trust. Moments pass, stillness returning as the garden seems to breathe with them. The princess and the two men stand together, each processing the fragile balance of authority, care, and restraint. Lord Marine's mind reflects. At first, he thought the princess was a trickster, a presence meant to challenge him. But he realizes now, with quiet astonishment, she is simply a child, one whose simple gesture can sway even the most guarded hearts. And yet, the golden-eyed man's gaze darkens slightly, a shadow of old grievances and unpredictable whims lingering behind it. Although he seems moved by no ordinary event, the tension in the air warns that this peace may be brief. The story unfolds in quiet gestures and the smallest of words, yet every action is heavy with consequence. A hand hovers protectively over a small figure, a simple command slicing through the tension. Leave the child alone. The girl's wide eyes, so full of innocence, meet the gaze of the two men, one radiating authority, the other, quiet strength. The air between them hums with unspoken stakes. The man with the long blonde hair, his eyes blazing with an inner fire, leans forward. What I am saying is, do not see her as a substitute for anyone else. His voice is sharp, resolute, almost dangerous. The other man, cloaked in deep navy robes, feels it deep in his chest, a pulse of fear, a drumbeat of responsibility. He's speechless, caught in the weight of the command. The child, standing between them, watches silently, heart pounding, unsure what this confrontation could mean for her small world. With a measured turn, the navy-clad man steps back, giving space but not conceding control. Every step echoes in the courtyard. The blonde man moves deliberately, his stride confident, his composure unshaken. The tension softens only slightly as he reaches the child. Sonia, he says, voice calm but carrying weight, as he guides her gently. I scared you, didn't I? I apologize for that. A fleeting grin, unexpected in its softness, crosses his blindfolded face. She nods, adjusting, accepting his presence with cautious trust. The scene shifts to a more peaceful, open space. Sunlight dances across the courtyard as they walk side by side. The child's small hand brushes against his sleeve, the first real connection forged in this quiet moment. I'm fine, she says simply. Her voice carries steadiness beyond her years. A single hair ribbon exchanges hands, a small token, but heavy with meaning. He looks down, eyes gentle, the first crack in his stoic exterior. Later, within the serene walls of Lady Chon's palace, the conversation turns to the object of mystery, a small vial of powder. This is the cure-all that we spoke of last time, the child is told. Her wide eyes scan it carefully. It was quite difficult to obtain due to its high price, comes the explanation. She hesitates, brown powder spilling slightly on the paper. Brown? She whispers. This isn't the color I was expecting. Is this the right one? Her small hands tremble, unsure if she's grasping its importance. The older woman instructs her on its use. You're supposed to burn the powder and inhale it through your nose. The child frowns, concentrating, absorbing every detail. Her young mind races with curiosity and fear. Meanwhile, Guillen's words echo in her thoughts. Gian has connected with the envoy from the Western continent. The cure-all is said to make you feel good and dissipate the pain. The powder is meant to be burnt and inhaled through the nose. Her heart skips, realizing the dangerous gravity of what she now holds. I cannot be completely certain, the older woman continues, voice careful, but this, probably opium. The child's eyes widen. The courtyard, the palace, even the sunlight feels different now, charged with tension and uncertainty. Every lesson, every warning, lands heavy upon her shoulders. She hugs the man beside her instinctively, whispering, "Please do not hate His Majesty too much." The small gesture of trust and reconciliation softens the air, a rare moment of quiet between the looming shadows of intrigue and danger. What kind of weapon doesn't spill blood, doesn't swing a blade, and still makes an entire nation kneel? Tonight, the answer sits on a tea table between two girls, and its name is opium. Inside the quiet palace chamber, the air feels too still. Sunlight spills across the polished floor, but at the table, the conversation turns dark. The red-haired noblewoman sits upright, tense and alert, her golden eyes narrowing as she repeats the word she has just heard. "Opium, you said?" Across from her, the young princess answers calmly. "Yes." And then the explanation unfolds like a nightmare wrapped in beauty. It creates a feeling of ecstasy and makes the user forget their pain. The vision turns golden, almost heavenly, until it collapses into darkness. But it is highly addictive. A shadowy figure sinks into madness, hands clutching their head as the glow becomes suffocating. So long-term use can lead to a quick spiral downward. The red-haired woman listens, her face tightening with every word. This is not just medicine. This is not just trade. This is something that can destroy a person from the inside. The princess continues. Not only do you become highly dependent on it, and the truth grows even colder, but once you're addicted, it's almost impossible to survive without it. The red-haired woman's eyes widen. Her voice sharpens with alarm. Does that not make it poison? But the princess, steady and precise, corrects her. A more exact term for it would be narcotic. Then the hidden danger is revealed. Narcotics smuggled in by the envoy of the Western continent. In the darkness of her memory, a glowing vessel appears, surrounded by men who move like conspirators. And behind it all, one question rises. And Gian is trying to do something with it. What could it be? The princess presses her fingers near her lips, thinking deeply. Her eyes are distant, but her mind is racing through the blood-stained history of kingdoms and power. Looking back on the history of humanity, there is one simple answer. A jar overturns in the darkness. Golden powder pours down like cursed sunlight over fallen bodies. Drugs are used to bring opponents to their knees. The room returns, but the weight of that image remains. The princess speaks again, slowly, as if naming the truth makes it more dangerous. I believe that Gian Yorang is trying to incapacitate the aristocrats and gain control of them. The red-haired woman freezes. Then her shock erupts. The chancellor, as in your highness's father, is truly doing such a thing? The princess gives her answer without hesitation. Yes. The red-haired woman stares at her, shaken. The possibility is too ugly, too treacherous, too close to the throne. But why? For the first time, the princess does not have a perfect answer. Her gaze lowers, thoughtful and grim. I don't have an answer for that yet. But I am absolutely certain that he's targeting the aristocrats. A vision of wealth flashes before them. Gold stacked in mountains, jewels gleaming, rare jars and luxury sealed away from ordinary hands. Not only is opium difficult to obtain, but also it comes at a very high price. The red-haired woman presses a hand to her head, exhausted by the implication. Therefore, we can say that the drugs are not for the commoners. For one brief moment, there is relief. The common people may not be the first victims. That is a relief, but the princess does not soften the truth. Even if we've avoided the common people getting addicted, this is still a serious issue. The red-haired woman agrees. That is true. The princess looks down at the cup in her hand, and the reflection inside seems almost poisonous now. If the aristocrats, the leaders of this country, become addicts. Her voice darkens with the full weight of the danger. They will be unable to think straight and will be chasing after hallucinations. And in that moment, the enemy's plan becomes terrifyingly clear. Not to conquer the nobles with soldiers, but to rot their minds until they surrender themselves. This is not poison meant for the body. It is poison meant for power. If Gian's target is truly the aristocrats, then this is no simple drug trade. This is a silent coup, one that doesn't need swords, soldiers, or blood, only addiction. Lady Chon's expression hardens as the pieces begin to connect. The palace around them remains calm, elegant, untouched by chaos, but the conversation at the table has become more dangerous than any battlefield. Sonya looks toward her and asks the question that cuts straight to the heart of the matter. You stated that the main consumers of this cure-all are rich and old aristocrats, didn't you, Lady Chon? And in that instant, the image becomes darker. A wealthy old noble lounges in luxury, smiling as smoke coils around him. Behind that comfort, something rotten is hiding. These are not ordinary buyers. These are the people who sit closest to the levers of power. Sonya's deduction deepens, and the shadows gather around Gien's figure like claws. They are the ones WHO hold the most influence in politics. It is likely that Giyun is targeting them, because they are getting in the way of his plans. In the vision, Gien stands alone beneath a crimson sky, surrounded by black silhouettes pointing at him from every side. He does not look frightened. He looks cold, tired, almost as if he has already decided that those who oppose him must be removed. Sonya's voice continues, calm but chilling. The fact that he felt the need to bring narcotics into this. Her gaze sharpens, means that they would have been a very big obstacle for him. Lady Chon listens with growing dread. If Gien needed opium to bend the nobles, then the nobles must have been blocking something enormous. Something they would never allow. Sonya says it plainly. If it's something that those in power would have objected to. Lady Chon's fingers rise to her chin. Her eyes tremble with the weight of the possibility forming in her mind. It may be. Then the scene ignites in fire and blades behind Sonya, the word hanging in the air like a sentence of death. Treason? Silence falls. The palace chamber becomes painfully still. Quote. Neither of them speaks for a moment. Because once that word is said, it cannot be taken back. Lady Chon's face softens with uncertainty. The fear is there, but so is restraint. She knows how dangerous accusations can become. It is merely speculation on my part. I could be wrong. Sonya sits quietly across from her, watching, waiting. Lady Chon tries to offer the less terrifying explanation, even though her own expression shows she does not fully believe it. It could be that he is simply overselling the effects of the cure-all to sell it at an exorbitant price. Sonya does not answer. Quote. The silence itself becomes her response. Lady Chon's anxiety rises again, and this time her hands come together as if she is praying her own theory is wrong. But we cannot rely on that being a possibility. Her golden eyes narrow with grim resolve. When the consequences might be this severe. Sonya lowers her gaze and takes a slow sip of tea. Quote. For a brief moment, the tension turns quiet, almost ordinary. A childlike princess drinking tea in a bright palace room. But the danger sitting between them has not disappeared. Lady Chon turns away, her long red hair sweeping behind her as she struggles with the accusation lodged in her heart. I simply cannot believe that he, her voice falters, would do such a thing. Then she adds the reason she cannot accept it so easily. Especially when Her Majesty's peach blossom power is functioning well as always. Sonya, mid-sip, reacts instantly. Her eyes squeeze shut as she nearly spits her tea in shock. Lady Chon continues, unaware of how much that name has struck her. Maybe it is not working on him? Tea drips. Sonya freezes in her chair, stunned and flustered. Lady Chon looks at her and asks with genuine surprise, was Your Highness unaware of Her Majesty's powers? Sonya wipes her mouth, trying to regain her composure, though her eyes still carry that startled shine. No, it's not that. I'd just never heard the name for it before. Then Sonya asks the question that has clearly caught her off guard. How did you know about it? Lady Chon only shrugs, as if this is common knowledge to anyone near the Empress. All those close to Her Majesty know about it. Sonya's little inner self jolts in shock. Really? Lady Chon explains gently, but her words reveal just how deep the legend runs. It is often said that all emperors and empresses throughout history have been loved by everyone. And those closest to Her Majesty know that it is because of that power. Sonya sits back, absorbing this with a thoughtful look. Oh, I see. But inside, her understanding twists into something darker. A glowing vision of the Empress appears, radiant and divine, surrounded by blossoms and light. To everyone else, the power is simple, beautiful, absolute. Sonya realizes the truth. I see that it isn't known that it comes with the caveat, but can love no one. They've only heard, they are loved by everyone. To the world, the Empress is someone destined to be adored. But Sonya knows there is a cruel condition hidden behind that blessing. The Empress receives love from all, yet cannot return it to anyone. Then another image appears. Gian beneath the moonlight, pale and distant, leaning against a dark wall as if even the night cannot reach him. Sonya's thoughts turn back to him. But that really is strange. Even if he doesn't love the Empress with all of his heart. The moon casts cold light over his face. I'm sure Giyun can't avoid that power of hers. And that is what makes everything so unsettling. If even Gian should be affected by the Empress's power, then his actions are not just betrayal. They are an impossibility that should not exist. Sonya sits with the answer half formed in her mind, and the palace grows quiet again, not peaceful, but watchful. Because the truth is no longer only about narcotics, aristocrats, or treason. Now it is about a man who may be moving outside the reach of the Empress's power itself. Sonya's mind slips back into the shadows of memory, back to the moment Gian smiled like a man who had already chosen blood over mercy. I still remember. That pale face. Those cold violet eyes. That smile that did not tremble. That murderous expression he made in front of Yenna. And the more Sonya thinks about it, the more impossible it feels. Gian had stood near the Empress. Close enough that anyone else should have been caught by her strange and beautiful power. Close enough that the force which makes people adore her should have wrapped around him like a chain. But it did not. He wasn't affected by her at that close of a distance. Sonya's gaze darkens. Does he have something that blocks the effects of her powers? A chill settles behind her eyes as another question rises, quieter and more dangerous. Is there something that I'm not aware of? Across the table, Lady Chon watches the princess fall silent. The room is peaceful, but the silence between them is heavy with suspicion. Your Highness, do you have any ideas? Sonya says nothing. Quote. Her eyes lower to the small vessel on the table. A soft glow clings to it like a secret waiting to be opened. Lady Chon's expression turns serious. I don't have a resolution. Her golden eyes sharpen with determination. But there is something I must check. Sonya slowly raises her cup. The motion is calm, but her eyes are focused now. She has found a thread, and she is ready to pull. Lady Chon notices immediately. Now that I think about it, you're only drinking this tea these days. Sonya lowers her gaze to the cup, almost amused. Your Highness is so observant. Lady Chon leans closer, sniffing the scent rising from the tea. What kind of tea is this? Sonya smiles gently, surrounded by pale blue blossoms like a secret garden blooming behind her. It is my favorite, Hydrangea serrata. It is called dew tea. The tea glows warm and amber in the cup. Or sweet dew tea. Then Sonya explains carefully, because this detail matters. The plant's name is Hydrangea serrata. Two flowers appear side by side, similar enough to fool the careless eye. Hydrangea flower. Hydrangea serrata flower. Sonya continues, her voice steady. They may be similar in name, but Hydrangea serrata should not be confused with hydrangea. Lady Chon's expression grows grave. Because. She turns slightly, as if the answer itself is dangerous. Tea made with hydrangea flowers. Sonya looks up. Is poisonous and should not be ingested. The words strike her like lightning. Quote. For one breath, Sonya is silent. Then her eyes change. A small smile curls across her face, not innocent, not childish, but sharp with understanding. She sets the cup down with a soft clack. Lady Chon, I have a request. Lady Chon watches her carefully. Hydrangea serrata tea and hydrangea tea. Sonya looks up with bright, unwavering eyes. Could you share them both? Her smile deepens, sweet as flowers and dangerous as poison. With me? And with that request, Sonya has found the test she needs. Two nearly identical teas, one harmless and one deadly, and perhaps the first clue to uncovering what Gian is truly hiding.